Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I thought I would take the chance today to answer a question that's kind of been bugging my mind from the last time I tumbled sea glass. And I thought as long as I'm answering my own question, I would answer or respond to some of the comments that I'd had on that video. Because I found very quickly that making sea glass is a lot like making oatmeal. Everybody has a different way they like their oatmeal, so everybody has a different recipe. Some people like cinnamon, some people like raisins, some people like soft, some like instant. Same thing with sea glass. It's like there's any way you want to do sea glass. Big pieces, little pieces. Some people said I used too much grit, some people said I didn't use enough, some people just said use sand. You can make sea glass, you can't screw it up. I mean, you just bust it and throw it in a tumbler, or you find it broken. But the question that's been kind of bugging my mind is, I had two barrels that I tumbled in that video. And one of the videos came out with a lot of little black specks. One barrel had a couple, but the other one had a lot. And somebody had made the comment that it was chunks of my barrel. And at first that's what I thought when I opened it up, but I didn't see any scratches in that barrel that would account for that much of the black flecks in there. It would have been significant in the barrel. There was quite a few in there. But, you know, maybe I missed them, maybe I didn't see them, but I thought maybe it might have been the sawdust too. You know, the sawdust, maybe it didn't break down like rocks or grit would, and the sap and the wood just picked up all the grit around it and eventually turned black from the tumbling process, and that's what I was seeing. So today I'm going to redo the breaking of that glass, but this time I'm not going to include any floor sweeping, so I'm not going to get that sawdust, and the floor that I'm going to be working on has already been swept anyway, so it's not going to have any sawdust in it. And I'm going to break various types of bottles. I've had a ton of people at the chalet asking for blue glass, so I'm definitely going to break some blue glass. And I know a lot of people were concerned that I was going to try to sell homemade sea glass as actual sea glass. I appreciate your concerns, but I'm an honest human being. I've labeled it homemade sea glass at my chalet, put it in a bin, and not once has anyone been confused. We're intelligent people. I think we can figure out that when it says homemade sea glass, I didn't pick it up at the beach. And not a single person has ever been confused, or I've had to explain it, and most of the people, when I do try to double check to make sure that it's homemade sea glass, they get it, or they just kind of roll their eyes like, obviously. So yeah, people get it. I'm not selling it as homemade sea glass, and labeling it homemade sea glass definitely gets the point across. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have some blue stuff in there. I got my wife keeps buying this olive oil brand, probably an Aldi brand or something, but you know, it has the labels on it, so I'm not going to take the labels off any glass. I've already proven in that tumble, and I've kind of tumbled glass since then, and I've also found that the labels don't matter. The barrel chews that up, so I'm not going to bother to waste my time taking something off that's going to grind away anyway. And I also am going to be including in this video, I had a little experiment where I tried to use a Dremel to cut glass with some mixed results. It turned out okay, and it turned out kind of like this piece where it just broke everywhere. So I'm going to include a little bit of that footage for you. And also, I had a friend reach out to me by the name of Tom Burley. He's got his own channel. A little fantastic mudlarking channel, very cool. If you have a chance, check out his stuff. He's got some, if you enjoy glass, that guy's got some great glass. But in the video he asked, or he commented that if I could make a barrel, because I have my own homemade tumbler, if you haven't checked that video, it's up there, and I could make any barrel any size I want and put on there, and he said if I could make a barrel big enough to fit an entire bottle, then it would complete, I think he said it was a dream goal of his. So, Tom, I did it. And I managed to successfully tumble a bottle in its entirety. So it took me a couple tries, and I'll maybe include some of that footage in here. I kind of recorded it weird, so it's probably going to come across a little weird, but you'll see that I did actually successfully tumble a bottle, and I'll show you the results of that at the end. And then you'll see also, I'm going to answer the big question of, does tumbling sea glass damage your barrel? And you'll see that by the end. And I had a ton of comments because when I tumbled my glass, or when I broke the glass, I didn't cover it. And I didn't really explain at that time in that video that I was doing that on purpose. I didn't want to cover it because I wanted to show that you could break the glass in a very controlled manner, and which I proved, and there was minimal amount of splash, but I couldn't swing very hard, you know, and I think even somebody left a rather insulting comment that I couldn't break a bottle with a single hit, but yeah, I didn't want a glass grenade in my face, so I wasn't going to swing for the fences. But I found that by the end, I used the claw side of that framing hammer and kind of the head of the hammer, which I've used that hammer for years as a carpenter, so the head's rounded. I actually had more control over breaking the glass with the rounded side than I did with the claw side. And when I used the claw side, I definitely got more shatter. So that was kind of an interesting little experiment. So if you're breaking your own glass and you want smaller pieces, probably find a chisel or a nail set or something that would create a small point of impact. That might get you your fast results for small pieces. And if you're trying to control the break, then maybe a ball peen hammer would be your best tool. I don't know offhand because I didn't use a ball peen hammer. I don't have one on hand, and I'm not going to run and borrow one from somebody to use it. But I am going to cover my glass this time, though. And I don't have any thick cloth laying around. So I just kind of got creative with a pair of shears and a pair of old blue jeans I had laying around. And with a little bit of work, I can now break glass with my... And I switched my shoes, so I got my gloves, I got my safety glasses, I got the glass covered. I'm all kinds of safe today. I even switched my shoes to closed-toe shoes, which sucks in the summer, but otherwise those Birkenstocks, they aren't that... people keep telling me they're a great shoe, and I had them given to me, but yeah, I'm not so impressed with them. And one thing I have found that is awesome about Birkenstocks is they are great for rock hounding. Because once a rock is in that shoe, it does not come out. So I don't want to discover that ability with glass. So switch to my work boots, which are steel toe and metatarsal, so all kinds of safe today. I'm gonna aim for a few smaller pieces. I had a lady stop by at my chalet, and she asked, I had some actual beach glass, and she was wondering if I could make it into earrings for her. And I made 2 pairs of earrings. She gave me like 9 pieces to work with or something like that. I ended up making 2 pairs of earrings out of it for her, and I loved it so much that I'm actually gonna try to do that with more earrings. Let's try to get some small shards and turn them into earrings. I thought that was really cool. It turned out great. It looked great. She was extremely happy with it. So she gave me an idea, and off to the races I go. Yeah. Alright, so I decided to do 3 barrels total, 3 rubber barrels. I'll probably put the rest of this glass in my PVC barrels later this week. But I did one with floor sweepings. I kind of picked it up. There's mostly dust and dirt in there because I swept my floor pretty good. But I did manage to grab a few pieces of sawdust in there. So I'm going to put that in this barrel and just kind of use that as my control group. Like maybe there's some sawdust coming out, and then I'll get some big pieces in there. So I'll just kind of a pain in the rear for loading, but that'll all break down in there if it tumbles. Found that that paper really ultimately doesn't matter. Alright, let's get some blue glass in there. I have customers are begging for blue glass. Okay. It looks like it's over full, but there's a lot of air in there. And that paper, like I said, will break down as it goes and kind of free up some space. So, and honestly, I kind of like that paper because it keeps all the little pieces glued together. Alright. I have a lot of glass to tumble up, so I'm going to throw it in one of my 14-inch barrels. I had also intended to do tumble some with beach glass, or I'm sorry, beach sand, but I'm not going to do that this time because I'm trying to conduct the experiment and try to keep it as close to what it was before. And this is going to be, I want to get the small stuff from before. Like when I had done this before, I had dumped floor sweepings and the little piddly stuff that came off of this into there. So now this time I've separated out I'm going to put the little stuff in here. Okay, I think I just talked to myself for about 15 minutes as I loaded these barrels. And this one I did a bunch of little small pieces. Last time my box I kind of upended into the barrel and I got a bunch of little tiny pieces. And I've kind of done that again, and I did that again this time. I didn't kind of do it, I did do it. And I upended it, and I got a lot of shards. This is, let me see if I can sift the sand grit down for you. Yeah, okay, so there you can see it's all little pieces, like mostly little pieces. And I put 2 scoops of grit in here to see if it breaks down, because usually the more smaller pieces you have, the faster your grit will break down. And then in the other one, I just put the normal 1 scoop that I did before, and this is again an experiment to see. It's not going to affect whether the glass damages the barrels, but it'll let me see if there's grit left over in this barrel at the end of the week. Then I know there's too much grit in there, and if there isn't, then you can pretty much add whatever grit you want. So yeah. I'm going to get these recorded on the logs before I forget what they are, and I will see you in 1 week, hopefully with undamaged barrels, but if they're damaged, well, that was the point of the experiment. Alright, since the last recording, I've sort of changed my process a little bit. I've obviously got the homemade tumbler now, and the Chicago Electric I had originally tumbled on, that unit, is now part of my little Frankenstein there. So, to keep the experiment the same as last time, I'm going to put it all back onto a Chicago Electric, which still turns at the same 48 RPM that the others do. Others turn at different speeds now. I've got them all changed to run at speeds that I prefer. So, let's fire it up. That was bumpy. So you can see I got a finished tumbler there. I got my PVCs rolling at different speeds, and then metal barrels, but yeah, let's get the glass on. There you go, we're all set for a week. See you then. So this will pretty much be the control group. I'm just going to put oh, that doesn't even fit.
I'm just going to put the big pieces of glass in here like I did last time. You know, the stuff I can grab with my gloves, and those are too big to fit in there. That one's already partially tumbled. I tried tumbling some glass. I already tried tumbling some glass, as you'll see in my when I'm working with the bottle, and some of the stuff came out partially tumbled, but not, the edges weren't rounded enough to keep me happy. I was afraid I'd cut my customers, so I just decided I would run them again. So I'll put a bunch of just stuff I can grab with the glove in here. I see there is some little stuff in here, but I don't want to get down to it. I just want to keep it big. See if maybe it's the little stuff that cuts the cuts the barrel. If it does cut the barrel at all. Alright, that's about 2/3, 3/4 full. And I am going to throw 1 scoop of 3570 in there like I did last time, and see how it turns out. So, see you in a week with this one.
So I tumbled a wine bottle earlier, about a month ago. But before I get into that, if you guys could hit that like button and let other people find this video, and let me know you enjoyed the pain I went through with this glass. Yeah, I would appreciate it. So, as a kind of a courtesy to another YouTuber, and also because, you know, I love to experiment, I made a PVC barrel for tumbling, and I made it large enough to fit an entire wine bottle. Because I wanted to see if you could tumble an entire wine bottle, as another Tom Burley, who has a fantastic mudlarking channel. He finds a bunch of great looking bottles, and he wanted to know if you could tumble an entire bottle, and I did. The first time I loaded the barrel, I put a bunch of glass in with the into the barrel with the bottle itself, and I thought that would be a great idea. I thought, because, you know, glass is glass. Well, come to find out that glass pieces turned sideways in the barrel and wedged between the bottle and the side of the barrel, and I don't know how long it was like that, but it did not tumble at all. A few pieces rolled around in there, but the pieces of glass that wedged the bottle to the side just stopped all motion inside that barrel, and I got maybe like 4 pieces of glass that were able to move on. So the second week, I decided to try again, but this time I only used small tumbling media, the little ceramic tubes that you get. And it worked much better. It came out smooth and round, but the problem is the neck, as you can see, didn't take much of the polishing, or I guess it's not polishing, the roughing. But the rest of the bottle did. Where the label was still a little shiny, and there were grooves worn in it, like it had just landed on, the barrel had just, the bottle had landed against some of the stone media and was just rolling along on a few pieces of the media and just cut grooves into it. So it's still not the best method. Maybe I should have tried it with just grit, but then, you know, at the same time, the neck probably, I don't know how to get that neck polished up. But anyway, so that's where I'm at with that, and I hope you enjoyed that, and let's get back to the barrels. Alright, here we are at the moment of truth. Does tumbling glass damage your barrel? So, I haven't cleaned these very well. You see the little, you know, the shiny grit still in there. I'm getting a classifier pan this week, so I'm planning on running it through there. But, you know, I was just looking through here. I didn't clean it super well, apparently. But, yeah, they're not, I don't see any black specks in there. You know, I see the little shards of glass that, you know, are maybe mostly useless or whatever. It tumbled up well. I didn't clean it very well, but I didn't give it a burnish cycle, which was probably what I should have done, but it was glass and I didn't think of it, and maybe I will yet. But, yeah, so I'm not seeing any of the black specks in here. This would be these are just the small pieces one. This is the one I just dumped all the little pieces, the bottles I had broken in the little half box there. That's this one. So
Still got some cool glass out of there. That's kind of neat. So, okay. So by contrast, however, here's the one with a few little bits of floor sweepings, where I got a little bit of sawdust in there, and I can already see some lack in there of some little mouse turd type looking things. Those are little pieces of, I thought, rubber, but now that I have actually had a control group and experimented, I think that's actually sawdust. That's the sawdust and the sap. It doesn't break down in the tumbler, which makes sense because it's wood and it's fibrous. But yeah, it's just like a little piece of rubber is what it feels like. But I'm not seeing any in this. And I mean, I know there's grit in there and there's little pieces, but if this was damaging the barrel, you know, if this one, let me try to get these side by side for you. If this one was damaging the barrel, you know, it would seem, because I use small pieces in both, and you know, the floor sweepings are going to also have some small shards of glass in there, and the floor sweeping one has the little flecks of black, and I don't see any of the little black. I'm trying to really hard to look and see, but if it would seem like if the little pieces of glass were damaging the barrel, it would be prevalent. The rubber, little pieces of rubber would be prevalent in here, but it's not there. I'm not seeing it anywhere. I mean, I keep looking. I've been looking. You know, I was looking before it dried, because, you know, before it dries, it sticks to the glass, and you can, it's, you know, you can pick up the glass and it'll stick to it like a little magnet or something like that, but no, I'm not seeing any in there whatsoever. I'm seeing the black little, you know, the grit I haven't washed out yet. I see that in there. But, yeah, I'm not seeing it. But here I got, you know, a couple pieces here, a couple pieces there, because I didn't have much sawdust on the ground. That wasn't it. That's something. That's a piece of glass. You know, there wasn't a lot of sawdust. I'd already swept the area because I was trying to control the amount of sawdust, and then I just like, well, let's just intentionally throw a few pieces in from sweeping, and that's pretty much what I've got. Just a few little, oh, there was one. Yep, there's a little black speck. So, yeah, I'm just, can glass damage your barrel? Does tumbling glass damage your barrel? I was like, I don't see it. Small piece, big piece, or the small pieces and the pieces with the sawdust. I mean, the sawdust has the black flecks like I had before. And then, here's big glass. And I got a little bit of something in there. Oh, that's dust. I don't know. That's soft. It's not rubbery, or it's not like the other stuff. That's just, I did not clean this very well. But actually, with this stuff, I'm thinking, I just got a vibratory tumbler. So I'm thinking of, I'm just going to throw it back in, burnish it for a little bit, and then I'm going to try to actually finish it again so it comes out shiny. But that's something I'd do more for a Friday's Rock episode. I'm not going to make an actual video on it. So if you're interested in that, hit subscribe and keep checking those Friday's Rocks. Eventually you'll see one that's, I say, tumbled glass or something like that. But yeah, even with the big pieces, I mean, what do we got here? No, it's more of whatever that... Oh, that's, yeah. I threw a piece of grungy glass in there that had plastic melted to it, and that must be the plastic that came off. So, because it's not like the other one. It's not like this, the little black fleck that came off of there, which feels like, you know, feels like rubber. This one is just, it feels like little flecks of nothing. Definitely did not clean that piece. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of grit on there. Slurry. But, yeah, I'm going to just... So, obviously, big pieces, if you're doing just big pieces and you don't want to include the little, you know, the little garbage that I threw in there, because I was trying to see if, you know, maybe this stuff would grind against the wall of the barrel, and, you know, I thought maybe, you know, little pieces like that would grind against the wall of the barrel and break it down or something, but it doesn't look like it did. And I thought maybe big pieces, you know, there'd be a lot of weight to them, and maybe they get more piercing action into the side of the barrel, but that barrel doesn't seem to care about that either, so, yeah. So I guess I am going to say, can tumbling glass damage your rubber barrels? The answer is no. So, I hope you've hit like by now, because if you've enjoyed this and if you had your answer or your question answered, and yeah, like I said, I got a little more glass coming out. I got a big old PVC barrel. It's a double barrel full of glass coming out yet, and that's probably going to show up in a Friday's Rock episode, because that's what the episode is for. It's just kind of stuff I'm not doing a video series on, but still coming out of the tumbler. And I have, oh my gosh, I have so many videos of stuff coming out. So yeah, hit subscribe if you're more interested in more glass or stone, or yeah, that one. Ooh, that would make a cool pendant. I could definitely see wrapping that one once I clean it off. I could definitely see wrapping that one. Start here. Yeah. Yeah. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and hopefully I answered your question, and my question for sure, too. And I will catch you in the next episode. Bye.